This is the main character sheet page. It has 5 tables: personal data, attributes, traits, skills, and combat. Personal data. Everything in here is self-explanatory. I don't think we have rules for determining height, weight, hair, or eyes, but you should have them make sense for the universe. You are mostly free to fill this table out however you want. Attributes. We record attribute scores here. These scores are determined by the experience point cost table according to how much XP we put into them. This is the experience point costs table. For now, we only need to worry about the first 2 columns, the ones with score and attribute in them. As you can see, having a 0 score in an attribute doesn't cost any XP. Having a score of 1 in an attribute costs 100 XP. A score of 2, 200, and so on. Let's say we put 500 XP into Strength, Bod, Reflex, Dex, and Will. Don't worry about the other ones for now. This will give us a 0 link modifier for skill checks, according to the action check modifiers table, which is here and on page 41. Looking at the skill check modifiers section of the action check modifiers table, we see, under linked attribute value, the possible scores on the left and the linked attributes or linked role modifiers on the right. So if I have a 0 attribute score in an attribute, that will give me a -4 linked role modifier, which is for my skills. If I have a 1 score in an attribute, that will give me a -2 linked modifier, and so on down. Returning to the attribute section of the character sheet, we can now see how it looks filled in. Traits. Traits represent abilities that can't be covered by attributes or skills. Traits apply to characters or vehicles and can be positive or negative. Positive traits provide a benefit. Negative traits, a hindrance. The master traits list gives us the examples. On this list, we see the positive traits in a column on the left and the negative traits on a column on the right. The flexible traits at the bottom can be negative or positive. Acquiring a trait involves spending or receiving XP. If the trait is positive, you spend XP. If the trait is negative, you receive XP. Each trait costs trait points, or TP. Each TP is worth 100 XP, according to the XP cost table, which we have already seen. So the ambidextrous trait requires 2 TP, which costs 200 XP, and the introvert trait requires 1 negative TP, which gives you 100 XP. We record this information in the traits table, like so. Skills. We buy skills similar to how we buy attributes and traits, using the same XP cost table, but the costs are less regular. Skill levels have 3 columns of cost. The standard column is what characters without the fast learner or slow learner traits use. Characters with those traits use the fast or slow learner column respectively. Suppose we want the small arms skill at level 4. This will cost us 120 XP, assuming we don't have the fast or slow learner trait. Now we can look at the master skills list to get all the information we need about the skill. The small arms skill is linked to Dex and has a target number of 7, with a complexity rating of simple basic, according to this table. We put this information into the skills box on the character sheet, like so. I like to put the link mod number in parentheses. Combat data. We track damage information in this table. A character can receive 2 types of damage, standard and fatigue. Max standard damage is equal to our BOD score times 2. Since our BOD score is 5, the max amount of standard damage we can take is 10. I can black out all but 10 standard damage bubbles. But since I'm working in Adobe Acrobat Pro, I can simply delete the unneeded bubbles. As I take standard damage, I will mark off bubbles in pencil. Fatigue damage is equal to our will score times 2, which makes our will score 10. Throughout combat, characters will likely become stunned and unstunned or go in and out of consciousness. so we have stun and unconsciousness bubbles to track that. I like to add in bleeding and knockdown, because characters can often start bleeding or become knocked down. We have 6 types of movement: walk, run/evade, sprint, climb, crawl, and swim. The movement cost table determines our movement rates in meters based on our strength and reflex scores. Here we see the table, and here is the movement rates section of it. We see that the walking rate is strength plus reflex, running is 10 plus strength plus reflex plus running skill level, and so on. I will use this information to fill in my movement rates. When playing on a hex map or square grid, we want to convert meters to movement points, or MP, so that moving into 1 hex or square costs 1 MP. And the movement rates I've written down are all in meters, by the way. As for the conversion, we can do this conversion to MP however we want. 1 hex could represent 5 meters, or 1 meter, or any number of meters. The choice is ours. And we can do the same with inches if we want to play without hexes or squares. I like to put the MP in parentheses next to the movement distance in meters. Personal armor is what our character wears on their body. There are many types of armor, which cover different body parts. Let's put this character in a Fed Sun's jacket. All personal armor has a barrier armor rating, or bar, ranging from 1 to 10. This bar represents how good the armor is at protecting people against the 4 types of damage, which are as follows: melee, ballistic, energy, and explosive. That's what bar, open paren, M/B/E/X means. M for melee, B ballistic, and so on. Now on to weapons. This character has a magnum revolver, which is a small arm, and if you recall, their small arms skill is 4. AP/BD stands for armor penetration/base damage. The magnum revolver has an AP/BD of 4B/5, meaning its armor penetration factor is 4 ballistic, and it does a base of 5 damage. We compare the weapon's AP to the armor's bar for ballistic weapons. Were this character to shoot themselves, their armor would add some protection, because the armor has a bar rating of 5 for ballistic weapons, and the weapon's AP is 4, which is 1 less than 5. In the range column, we record the weapon's ranges. There are 4 possible range brackets: short, medium, long, and extreme. And that is what these 4 spaces are for. In the ammo column, we track ammo. In the notes column, we can make notes about particularities. This gun needs to reload every 5 shots and has a -1 penalty to shoot. That is all for the first page. This is the second page. It only has 3 boxes. Everything here is rather self-explanatory, so I won't bother you with a lengthy explanation of it.